What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Filip Latocha, and today we are talking about Phase 3 of my Chicago Marathon training. The good, the bad, the ugly, and the really ugly, and what this means for the last 3 weeks of training before race day. So, before we get into it, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, if you're already subscribed, watching this content. Thanks so much, love you guys a lot. Let's get into it. So as you can probably see from the whiteboard, I had some goals initially listed after the Chicago Triathlon, the Crystal Lake 13.1. That's probably where we last left off on this vlog, was the Crystal Lake 13.1. The goal then was to run about 75 miles before race day, and then the following week, leading into the Fox Valley 20 miler, be able to run 80. So as you can see by the whiteboard, leading into Crystal Lake, I ran about 50 miles, including the Crystal Lake half marathon. And the week after, looks like it went only 50 miles as well. So I'm not really meeting the distance goals I set for myself, but to be fair, I'm still putting in arguably what is considered distance. But there's a bit of a caveat here, and that is that my long run workouts aren't exactly up to par or where I need them to be. And there's a couple of factors that would be, I guess, to look at, to blame, to analyze in this kind of case. So it's no surprise that my sleeping schedule has been quite bad, and like I barely get by on some days where, you know, I'm up until like 2, 3 a.m. and then I wake up 4 or 5 hours later, get to work, kind of do those, go through the motions of like the 9 to 5, try to film some YouTube videos if I can. Some days it gets pretty difficult to just sit down and like be able to focus on anything other than work, or if I'm getting distracted by something else, whether it's like life events, self-improvement objectives. Basically, it becomes tricky to kind of balance these things out. But the one constant always in my life right now, besides, working and things like that, is always being able to run and just do any sort of fitness. So running and weightlifting, that's kind of like where a lot of things are centralized around. And I think from an overall standpoint, that's a good thing. But there was a period of time back in like 2018, 2019, where this balance was a lot better. And it's mostly as a cause to, again, I guess a lot of people, I'm going to go on a big tangent here for this video, so just bear with me here. If you agree or disagree with this, or have experienced symptoms of it, just like let me know in the comments. So the idea here is that since like 2020 and the big pandemic and all that, I guess the whole work from home scenario has made life very easy for a lot of people, but has also added some complications as a result. So like, a lot more people get, I guess, depressed, or are not experiencing life the same way that people like me would have experienced. So for example, I always like to think about this, that there are kids in high school right now who've like never had a homecoming or will never have a prom because of like this lockdown. Or there'll be people who will be missing out on major college life experiences because they lost 2 years or 3 years because of lockdowns and not being able to travel for college, and they go remote, and like they miss those networking opportunities and so on and so forth. These are like really common things. These are cold takes. This is nothing new, I imagine. So the idea here is that like this is good for people who've already got like families and are like able just to be with their families more while working from home. I'm sure those guys will be like, oh, I don't want to be at work around my family in my house, but like whatever. For someone like me, who just began, like, I would argue my career officially began late 2019, early 2020, and I was starting to get into the groove of the life that I wanted. I think I've really digressed in a way from what I've wanted structurally, but it kind of is what it is, and I know I can fix it if certain things in my life get just tweaked just a little bit. So I'll give you this example. In late 2019, 2020, the big things that were happening at this point was that I started, my career as a cybersecurity analyst, and my day-to-day then was waking up at 5:30, going to the gym, do my run, and like get like a first workout like before 7:30, and then take the train, get to work at 8, 8:30, work until 4:30, 5 o'clock, go back to the gym, do my thing again, go for a second run. and then you would like eat dinner, go home, sleep, and then like rinse and repeat basically. And from that schedule, not only was I able to work like 40 to 45 hours a week, but I was also able to run like upwards of 60 to 80 miles a week. Whereas now, the convenience of being at home should make this significantly easier to follow that exact same schedule, but there's just some sort of like morale beatdown overall, at least in my circumstance, where like I don't know if it's because, you know, now I've like progressed in the career and now my mind is more focused on like career objectives or like self-improvement to become a more upper echelon style male. I don't know, it's just there's a lot of other distractions kind of coming into play and things I think about as I've just kind of turned 30 and now I'm more conscious of certain things happening in life where it's like, yeah, the 20s are officially over and we're hitting the big 30. Did I make my 20s count kind of a thing? So I have a whole separate video on this that I'm going to do. Somebody gave me a really good idea. You guys will see it probably in the near future. But yeah, there's career objectives I'm focusing on. I'm kind of like distracted by other things like related to not really work, but maybe like mobile stuff, maybe like some mobile games and whatnot. So there are a lot more distractions going on in life that can eat up a lot of time. And as a result, now that we bring this all back, for some reason the running morale is kind of suffering here. And there's a couple of things for that, of course, that can be fixed. One is to like obviously eliminate the distractions that weren't existing in 2019, be more social around people like I was back in the day because my job kind of required me to be social before I started my official career. You know, wake up early again and like stay awake rather than like kind of falling in and out during the day, going to sleep at a regular time. And yeah, that's really kind of the big things I need to get focused on. And like, this is one piece of advice that was definitely given to me by the guy who won first place during the Crystal Lake Half Marathon and like commented on one of my videos is like, do these runs during the AM. Do them when the race is happening rather than like when you're done with work and you're done with like, you know, filming YouTube videos and all your other objectives for the day. And like, he's totally correct. I should be running in the mornings again like I used to. And continuing on this cycle now, of course, because it is this particular week, I believe we are on the 19th of September today. So the schedule is kind of set up from like Sunday to Sunday rather than Monday to Monday as this one is done. This 90-mile week is supposed to be the week previously is the week I was supposed to be running my 20-miler. And that means, because I'm filming this on a Monday right now, so that's last Saturday or just yesterday, this Sunday, should have been my 20-mile run. And in my attempts to do them yesterday on Sunday, the morale was just low and I just wasn't feeling the 20-miler mentally, right? Like the body probably could have kept going, but like I didn't have like, you know, I just bought a new pack of birthday cake goo gels. I didn't have like my nutrition kind of set up. So I had some other excuses not to do the 20-miler, but I can't push this 20-miler further back than like this coming Friday, for example. Like I need to do it during the week, and I'm okay with doing that. And yeah, you know, I brought it up with my coach and he said, yeah, like if you're not mentally ready to do the 20-miler this weekend, don't do it. Be in the right headspace to do it because you need to simulate the first 20 miles of the race. And if you're in a bad headspace, it's not a good idea to force the 20-miler. So that's kind of been also part of the fight, is just, you know, sorting out the mental portions of the run in addition to sorting out some of the life things going on here. And like, don't get me wrong, nothing is going bad in like my life. In fact, a lot of things have been just getting better and better, but as a result, with higher responsibilities and like more existential thoughts coming as I age, there's a lot of conflicting things that happen with running distance in this particular case. Like I can still run, I still always make the time to run. It's just now I'm not in that space where I was like 27, 28, or like, sorry, even younger than that, like 25, 26, working at like the airport previously and being able just to like leave the clock, not a care in the world, and just go for like a 15-mile run along the lakefront path and just come home, eat, and go to sleep, rinse, repeat. Whereas like now, as like a salary-based role that I'm having now, like I have more obligation to like work at night, look at things that come in, do some research on some stuff. And particularly, like, the biggest distraction for me is like studying for certifications right now. Like, I'm really excited to study for them and get some additional certifications to like boost my, knowledge and status in this career, but I see how the constant thought and the constant desire to study is also conflicting with running. And this is a good problem. Like, it's one thing if you're like not interested in studying at all and you don't want to and you don't want to get these certifications, but I see myself just like actively saying like I should be spending like 3 to 4 hours studying for this. Like, not only did I set it like as a goal for myself this quarter for work to like get a cert, but like I want to do it, but I see that there's other things distracting me, and like if I start cutting out certain things, I can balance all this once again. But I see that I've developed bad habits since 2020, which are kind of conflicting now. And now seeing that the world is kind of coming back together, those bad habits that developed, you should cut those like at the core, like cut those tumors off immediately. So it's something I'm actively thinking about, like getting all this kind of sorted out and then going cold turkey on like this existing schedule I have, and basically trying to go for a hard reset to like start waking up at like 6 a.m., 7 a.m. again, do an a.m. run before work, work 9 to 5 as usual, have an evening workout of some sort, go to bed early, eat like properly. These are things I should be doing and have done in the past, which made like my 2018, 2019 running years very successful. And it's just something I got to start doing again, especially now where like I'm at a level where my times in running are getting better, not because I'm necessarily lucky, but there's like, there's a wisdom that occurs when you're running a certain style, or just time spent on your feet that makes you a better runner overall. And now it's just time to capitalize on that progress rather than watching it kind of hinder as a result of other weird habits. So this may have been less of like a marathon phase update. Well, actually it kind of is, because, phase 1, everything's like in good spirits. Phase 2, also really great spirits, some distractions, but we can handle it. But I see myself mentally kind of falling apart in phase 3 because of some internal but also some external elements. So it is just showing that marathon training is not as simple as like, here's the plan, do it. There's a lot of other things that are also occurring in your life at the same time that can conflict with this ultimate 90-mile week, which I know is not going to happen. Like, if I'm lucky, I could do a 90-mile week, but I will suffer severe consequences for doing so, like some kind of injuries, or I break something along the way, because again, going from running a 50-mile week and then jumping into 90 miles is almost a 200% mile increase, almost. So it's not a good idea. At the very least, maybe I'm gonna run 65, 70 miles this week, and I would be okay with that. Honestly, I would run like the 20-miler sometime this week, a half marathon at another point, and then continue my 7 to 8 mile runs as per usual, like during the weekday. So that's kind of where we're at with marathon training, I suppose, as we're kind of midway, if not towards the end of phase 3 here. And yeah, I didn't run the Fox Valley 20 yesterday either. I didn't sign up on time. So again, mental demoralization. I just didn't sign up for the race that was going to be my 20-mile run. So lots going on there, but yeah, I think I'm okay. It just got to reset a couple of things and like really focus and like hunker down on the fact that this marathon is 3 weeks from now. I've got work things I need to get done before the end of the year, and I'm clearly distracted by a lot of things. So yeah, it's time to get these things kind of sorted out, get back into the spin of how things were progress-wise in 2019, and just get it done. So I will end the video here. Hopefully it was at least kind of like entertaining, or at least somewhat relatable. Hopefully not too doomer, not too depressing, but yeah, that's kind of, it just is what it is. Like, sometimes marathon training is not perfect for an amateur athlete. So yeah, that's just kind of what it is, I guess. So thanks for watching this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.